So we're going to look at two methods. When we solve these, we're going to start off looking at how we solve these using substitution, and then we will look at the Gaussian elimination. Okay?
What was the essential question?
All right, for step one, I'm going to write down here step one. We are going to solve our first equation for the z. So we're going to solve equation 1 for z. So I'm going to come over here. I'm just going to rewrite equation 1. I told you I was going to do that one in blue. So I have my 2x plus my 7y plus my z equal to negative 53. So if I want to solve that for z, in other words, I want z by himself, what am I going to do?
Move the z.
Now I'm going to leave him. But what else needs to go?
Move the x and y.
Move the x and the y. I'm going to move x and y from one side of the equation to the other, so they're going to become what in the process? Negatives. Thank you. So that would give us z equal to negative 2x, negative 7y, and minus the 53. I'm just going to kind of enclose that with a little rectangle here because that is an important step. We're going to refer back to that. Okay, step 2.
Hold on, my pencil broke.
Okay. Step 2, we are going to sub our z into the second equation. So we're going to sub z into equation 2. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite it so we can reference back to it. That's my negative 2x plus my 3y plus my z equal to the negative 13. Okay? So I'm going to take out the z and replace it with what I just solved for. Okay? So that would give me negative 2x plus 3y plus, I'm going to do my replacement, and that is the negative 2x minus the 7y minus the 53 equal to the negative 13. Okay, so now that we've replaced the z in, you notice there is not a number outside the parentheses, right? So now all you have to do for your next step is combine your like terms. So your negative 2x and your negative 2x, negative 4x.
Can we do this in the number 2 color?
Yes, do it in, yeah, because mine's still in purple. Your 3y plus your negative 7y, that would give you, thank you. And then our negative 53 equal to our negative 13. Don't forget about your right side.
Is that a P?
Where?
After the negative 4.
Okay, let's move our negative 53. How would we move it? Add it. Okay, so that would leave us over here with a negative 4x minus 4y equal to, so you have, yes, 40. Okay, thank you. All right, just like when we had done substitution before, remember you had to either solve it for x or y, at least one of the equations. That's what we're going to do now. So our next step is we're going to solve this equation for y. So that is our next step. So step 3, we're going to solve for y.
Are you still writing your book?
Yes. So if I want to solve this for y, what has to be moved first?
Plus. Or yeah.
Yes. Yes. And yes, you would move it as a plus. Thank you. So that would give you negative 4y equal to 4x plus 40.
I see what it's going.
And now what? Now what do we need to do?
Divide the whole thing by 4.
Okay, and by 4 or by, yes, and then divide out your negative 4. Be really careful with this step, guys.
So the 4x turns 5.
No, you're dividing, so keep the sign the same.
So if it says negative
When we add the opposite. When we divide with the same.
Oh, it's because the negative.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to come over here since I've run out of room. So that gives us y equals, okay, 4 divided by negative 4, negative x. 4 divided by negative 4 is negative x, and 40 divided by negative 4 is negative 10. Okay, and I'm gonna circle or highlight that one because that is an important one. Okay, step 4, we're going to go back to our first equation that we had already solved for z, okay? And we are going to sub that into equation 3. So we're going to sub the z into our third equation. And mine was the red, so I'm just going to do that.
So we put stuff from our first equation into the third equation.
Just the z that we'd already solved.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm just going to rewrite, since I don't have it anymore up on the screen, I'm going to rewrite equation 3. Remember that was 6x plus 3y plus z equal to negative 45. Okay, so now let's replace the z. So that would give me 6x plus 3y plus, now I'm going to replace my z, which was negative 2x, negative 7y, minus 53, equal to, what was it, negative 45? So let's combine like terms since we don't have to distribute. So your 6x and your negative 2x would be 4x. Your 3y and negative 7y would be
Negative 4y.
negative 4y minus your 53 equal to your negative 45. Okay, I want you to move your 53 over. You move that 53 over, you would move it as a positive. So negative 45 and positive 53 would leave you with 8. Very good. So here we have this equation here with an x and the y. And remember I carried over this one from my previous slide. Okay, do you know what those two are? You know what you're going to do with those two equations now?
Wait, what?
That is now your new system. Okay, so I'm going to bring them over here.
So
We're
now
going
we
to,
plug in elimination.
yes, very good. So now we're going to come over here to step 5. We have our system, which is your y equal to your negative x minus 10 and your 4x, minus 4x minus your 4y
Step 5.
equal to 8. So step 5 is your new system. Yes, it's your new system. All right, so we're going to do our 4x minus our 4. Let's sub in that y, which was negative x minus 10 equals 8. So we need to distribute. So negative 4 times the negative x.
4x.
And the negative 4 times the negative 10.
40.
Like terms, your 4x plus 4x.
8x.
Move your 40 over. That would give you what? Negative 32. So x is a negative 4. Very good. All right, we've got one. Now, once you get a variable, once you have found the value of one of your variables, now what we're going to do is we're going to work backwards, okay? Now we're going to start going backwards.
If we plug this in.
Yes, x is going to go back up here, okay? So now you're going to sub back in. So y, oops. I'm gonna keep it green. Okay, so now I've got my y equal to my negative x, which was negative 4, minus my 10. So minus my negative 4 is what? Positive.
Miss Spencer. This is schedule.
So your y equals negative 6. All right, we've got our x and our y. Now, how are we going to get z?
Plug both X and Y to Z.
Yes. So now we're going to go back up to z. I'm going to change back to blue. Okay, and this is our final step. So I have my, I'm going to say final step. So I have my z equal to my negative 2 times the x we found, which was negative 4, minus 7 times the y we found, which was negative 6,
Miss, we can't see it.
minus 53. So z is, do your order of operation, your negative 2 and negative 4 multiplied would be positive 8. Your negative 7 and negative 6 multiplied would be a positive 42, minus your 53. Yes, z would equal negative 3, and there's your triple. So I'm going to come right up here at the top. Our solution, our x was a negative 4, our y was a negative 6, and our z was a negative 3. And there's your solution.